his party. Let's continue the discussion with Ellis Henican from Newsmax New York and from Washington, D.C., John Gizzi, the Newsmax White House correspondent. John, you've been to plenty of those presidential press briefings. The questions asked post-election was, what did you carry away from that exchange among and between reporters and the press secretary?
Well, the fact is that Josh Earnest, the president's top spokesman, is doing the best he can under situations that are just impossible for the spokesman of a president whose party has been shellacked in the election. I mean, the historic proportions of the vote Tuesday evening speak for themselves. And Josh Earnest was simply trying to put the best face on it, which is very difficult to do at this point. I think it's going to be even harder when my colleagues in the White House press corps begin to ask tough questions on issues such as those on the agenda at the White House today with congressional leaders. Immigration, Keystone Pipeline, to name two.
So, Ellis, when you were with us on election night, our colleague Dick Morris kind of took issue with your, well, this is not a surprise, the Republicans are winning, but it's not a big deal. You go back and look at the numbers. Are you prepared now to say it was a historic night for Republicans?
Well, first of all, I don't want to be critical of Dick. I mean, he did get Dewey Truman right, okay? I want to be clear on that. You know, listen, it's a bad result for Democrats. There's no denying that, and I think Josh Earnest even eventually got around to that view. And so you've got to accommodate the new political realities. But it doesn't. There's some things it doesn't mean. Conceding it's you know, bad news for Dems. It doesn't mean that all of America has different views. So let's remember that 2/3 of the people in the country didn't vote. The races were centered in red states, powerful red states, and that's really where the turnout and the energy and the results came from. And so while it does have certain impact, clearly it's a big deal when a different party takes control of the Senate. It doesn't mean that the president, who was elected overwhelmingly twice, it doesn't mean that he ought to give up his principles, he ought to abandon people that he's trying to help. You know, he's still the president, so let's you guys got to get used to that too, you know.
Understand the tenets of the Constitution, but John, it's interesting that we're hearing, well, 2/3 of the country didn't vote. Doesn't the way it works, you show up and vote, and it's the decision of the people who show up to vote. Brother Gizzi, a minute remains. Go ahead, 30 seconds for you, then we'll let Ellis get back in.
Some European countries have moved the voting to Sundays and even fine people for non-voting. I believe that's the case in France. We have a greater sense of freedom and responsibility of our citizens, so we have it on a Tuesday during the weekday, and if people don't choose to vote, they're not penalized. This is why there's a low turnout in midterm years, although in some states, and particularly those with key initiative and referenda, the turnout was higher than usual. But again, it's up to the public on that. And I think the thing just speaks for itself. If people don't choose to vote, that's their right. Those who do come, exercise that right. My own advice, I
sorry about this,
to vote.
Brother Gizzi, we appreciate your answer. Ellis, sorry we couldn't get to you, but we'll have you both back. America's Forum continues after this.